All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into something that's become so incredibly important, in today's world, and that's English assignment help.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've all noticed just how much English has become like the global language,
Right.
and the demand for fluency is just growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
So we're going to explore a website that offers English assignment help,
Go.
especially for students who aren't native English speakers.
Interesting.
So what I found fascinating about this website was that it doesn't just like offer to do your homework for you.
Yeah.
It tries to connect their services to this bigger idea of English as essential for success,
I see.
not just in school, but in your career and your life overall.
Right.
So our mission today is to kind of look at the specific challenges that students are facing with English assignments,
Okay.
and then see how this website is positioning itself as the solution.
Gotcha.
So what do you make of that angle?
Well, it's pretty clever, actually.
Yeah.
You see, by framing their services within this broader context of the importance of English,
Yeah.
they're tapping into a deeper need that a lot of students feel,
Mm-hmm.
especially those who didn't grow up speaking English.
Right.
It's not just about getting a good grade.
Yeah.
It's about feeling confident and equipped
Yeah.
to navigate a world where English fluency is increasingly valued.
You hit on something that I found really interesting, too, in looking at the source material.
Okay?
It talks about how English is an official language in a lot of countries,
Yeah.
and how more and more organizations globally are using English as their main language for communication.
Right.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, if you want to succeed in the 21st century,
Mm-hmm.
you need to master English, and we're here to help.
Exactly. They're positioning themselves as not just an assignment help service,
Yeah.
but as like a partner in
Yeah.
achieving this larger goal of English proficiency.
Right.
Now, whether they can actually deliver on that promise, that's a different question.
Right.
But from a marketing perspective, it's a very effective strategy.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty then of the challenges that students are facing.
Right.
The source mentions, non-native speakers struggling with grammar,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure of deadlines, and just the sheer variety of assignments like book reports, essays, translations, even posters.
Wow.
It's a lot to juggle.
Yeah. And each type of assignment requires a different set of skills.
That's true.
Like take witch reports, for example.
Okay.
They're not just about summarizing the plot.
Right.
They're about analyzing themes, characters,
Yeah.
the author's writing style.
Yeah.
That requires a deeper understanding of the language and the ability to think critically and express those thoughts in a clear and organized way.
And then you have essays, which are all about crafting persuasive arguments,
Right.
supporting them with evidence and structuring your thoughts logically.
Exactly.
And then translation, wow, those are a whole different beast.
Oh, yeah.
You need to not just capture the literal meaning of the words,
Yeah.
but also the nuances, the cultural context, the author's intended tone.
It's really complex.
It is.
And even something as seemingly simple as creating a poster
Right.
requires strong English skills.
Yeah.
You need to be concise, impactful, and visually engaging while still conveying the intended message clearly.
Yeah. So you see, the website isn't wrong when they highlight these diverse challenges that students face.
I see what you mean.
It's not just about knowing English vocabulary. It's
Yeah.
about using the language effectively in a variety of contexts.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've established that English assignments can be tough,
Yeah.
and this website is positioning itself as the ICER.
Mm-hmm.
They really highlight their PhD expert writers
Okay.
and their 24/7 availability, which seems like a dream for a student who is stressed out about a looming deadline.
Oh, absolutely. It's a brilliant marketing tactic, playing on those anxieties students often feel.
Yeah.
They're suggesting that not only are their writers highly qualified with PhDs,
Right.
but they're also available around the clock to meet those tight deadlines that students are always facing.
Yeah.
It creates this image of reliability and convenience,
Yeah.
which can be so appealing, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed.
And then to make it even more tempting, they emphasize affordability.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest, most students are on a pretty tight budget. So seeing that emphasis on keeping costs low is definitely going to catch their attention.
Absolutely. They're strategically targeting a key concern for their target audience,
Right.
money.
Money.
Students are often juggling multiple responsibilities,
Yeah.
and finding affordable solutions is a top priority.
Yeah.
So by highlighting their affordability, the website's directly addressing a major pain point for their potential customers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smart move, especially considering the competitive landscape of online assignment help services.
Okay, so they've laid out the problem. English is essential,
Yeah.
but assignments are tough.
Right.
They've introduced themselves as the solution expert writers available 24/7 at affordable prices. Now let's see how they sweeten the deal.
Okay.
Because they have a whole section on free features
All right.
and a huge banner advertising 50% off.
Wow.
It seems like they're really pulling out all the stops to attract students.
Those are classic marketing techniques designed to create a sense of value and urgency.
Mm-hmm.
By offering something for free, they pique the student's interest,
Yeah.
encourage them to explore the website further,
Right.
and then the limited time discount creates a sense of urgency, prompting students to act quickly
Right.
before they miss out on a great deal.
And it's not just about the discounts themselves, right? It's about the psychology behind them.
Yeah.
Students, especially those on a tight budget, are naturally drawn to deals and discounts. It makes them feel like they're getting more bang for their buck, which can be such a powerful motivator.
Absolutely. It plays into our innate desire for a bargain,
Right.
and it maximizes the perceived value of the services being offered.
Yeah.
So even if a student wasn't initially considering using an assignment help service, seeing those enticing offers might just sway them,
Yeah.
you know?
Like that little extra push.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we've talked about the challenges
Mm-hmm.
and how this website is presenting itself as the solution.
Yeah.
But they also have this whole section called free e-tools,
Okay.
which I thought was interesting. It's
Yep.
like they're offering extra value beyond just the assignment help itself.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you think of those tools?
Well, it's a clever strategy to engage students
Okay.
and position the website as a valuable resource even beyond those paid services.
Right.
So let's take a closer look at some of these tools.
All right, so first up, we have the paraphrasing tool.
Okay.
It claims to help students simplify complex academic writing.
Paraphrasing is a crucial skill for any student. It's about taking someone else's ideas
Right.
and expressing them in your own words while still giving credit to the original source. So a tool like this can be helpful for understanding the mechanics of paraphrasing, especially for non-native English speakers who might be grappling with sentence structure and vocabulary.
That makes sense. Then they have a plagiarism checker, which seems pretty essential these days.
Absolutely. Plagiarism is a serious issue in academia,
Yeah.
and students need to understand the importance of producing original work.
Right.
So a plagiarism checker can help identify any unintentional instances of plagiarism, ensuring that students are submitting work that meets those academic integrity standards.
And to make citing sources easier, they have a reference generator.
Oh, yeah.
I remember struggling with different citation styles back in school.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Right.
Different disciplines use different citation styles.
Yeah,
And it can be a real headache to keep them all straight.
totally.
So a reference generator can definitely streamline the process and ensure that those citations are formatted correctly,
Right.
saving students time and potential frustration.
Moving on, we have the grammar checker tool.
Okay.
Now, I think we've all been there staring at a sentence and
Yeah.
wondering if that comma is in the right place.
For sure.
Um,
Grammar is essential for clear and effective communication,
right.
and a grammar checker can be a useful tool for catching those small errors that can slip through even the most careful proofreading.
Yeah.
It can also be a learning opportunity for students,
Okay.
helping them identify patterns in their mistakes and improve their grammar skills over time.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
They have an essay typer.
That messy typer.
You type in your topic.
Yeah.
And it generates an essay for you. I mean, is this the future of education?
Yeah, it's certainly a tool that's generating a lot of discussion and debate.
Right.
While an essay typer can create text based on specific prompts,
Yeah.
the quality and originality of that text are still under scrutiny. And more importantly, it raises questions about the purpose of assignments. Are they just about producing a piece of writing,
Right.
or are they about the process of research analysis and critical thinking that goes into crafting an essay?
That's a great point. It's like the difference between baking a cake from scratch and using a pre-made mix.
Exactly.
Sure, you end up with a cake in both cases,
Yeah.
but the process and the skills you develop along the way are vastly different.
Absolutely.
And then taking it a step further, they have an AI essay writer.
Wow.
Are we really at a point where AI can write our essays for us?
It feels almost like science fiction.
It does. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on these AI writing tools?
Sure.
Do you think they can truly replicate the nuances and complexities of human writing?
Which fascinating question.
Yeah.
AI has certainly advanced in recent years, and these tools can produce surprisingly coherent text.
Right.
However, true writing involves more than just stringing words together.
Right.
It requires critical thinking, creativity, the ability to synthesize information, and a deep understanding of the subject matter.
Right.
Whether AI can truly replicate those higher-order thinking skills is still a matter of debate.
This website is really making me think about the evolving role of technology in education. On the one hand, these tools can potentially save students time and help them improve their writing.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's the concern that over-reliance on these tools might hinder the development of essential skills.
It's a tricky balance.
It is. It's a conversation that I think we need to be having as technology continues to advance. It's important for educators, students, policymakers to discuss the ethical implications of these tools and how they can be used responsibly to enhance learning rather than replace it.
I agree.
So we've talked about the tools.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the website itself.
Okay.
Did you notice anything interesting about its design and layout?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very strategically designed to guide the user experience and ultimately encourage them to use the service.
What are you going to give me some specific?
Well, for instance, the Order Now button is prominently displayed in multiple locations, making it very easy for students to take action when they're ready.
Right.
And the color scheme is very bright and engaging, using contrasting colors to draw attention to key information.
I see what you mean. And they have those customer testimonials strategically placed throughout the website, highlighting positive experiences and building trust with potential customers.
Social proof is a powerful marketing tool. Seeing positive reviews from other students can make a huge difference in convincing someone to try a service, especially when it comes to something as personal and important as academic assistance.
And they have a whole section called Latest Blogs.
Oh, yeah.
Which covers a range of topics related to academics and study skills.
That's a smart content marketing strategy.
Okay.
By providing valuable information for free, they establish themselves as a helpful resource for students. It's not just about selling a service. It's about building a relationship with their target audience, positioning themselves as experts in the field of education.
It's almost like they're saying, we understand the challenges you're facing.
Right.
And we're here to support you on your academic journey.
Exactly.
Of course, the ultimate goal is to convert those website visitors into paying customers.
Precisely. It's a subtle but effective approach. By offering valuable content and resources, they create a sense of goodwill and trust, which can make students more receptive to their paid services.
Right.
This is a much more sophisticated approach than just bombarding students with ads.
So they've created this user-friendly website. They're offering tempting deals.
Right.
And they're positioning themselves as a trusted resource for students.
Exactly.
But I notice that they also emphasize their global reach,
yeah.
listing countries like the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, Canada. Why do you think they're highlighting that?
Well, I think it's a way of demonstrating their experience and expertise and working with students from diverse backgrounds. It also reflects the global demand for English language skills, which is something we talked about earlier.
Right.
They're essentially saying no matter where you're from or what your academic goals are, we can help you succeed in English.
It's a powerful message, especially for students who might feel isolated or unsure of where to turn for help. It creates a sense of community and inclusivity, which can be incredibly reassuring.
And it taps into the anxieties that many international students face when studying in a new country. They might be worried about their language skills, unfamiliar with the academic expectations, or simply feeling overwhelmed by the cultural differences. So by highlighting their global reach, the website is reassuring students that they understand these challenges and have the experience to help them navigate them successfully.
All right, so we've covered the website's design marketing strategies, target audience. But one thing that stood out to me was the sheer variety of services that they offer. It's not just essay writing. It's paraphrasing, grammar checking, even translation services.
It's a reflection of the increasing demand for academic support across a wide range of subjects and skills. Students are facing more pressure than ever before. And they're turning to these services for help with everything. From research and writing to editing and proofreading.
It makes you wonder if this is just a symptom of a larger issue in education.
It does.
Are students getting the support they need within their institutions?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they feeling forced to seek outside help?
That's a complex question with no easy answers.
It is.
There are so many factors at play, including increasing workloads,
Mm-hmm.
rising tuition, costs, a competitive academic environment.
Yeah.
It's important for educational institutions to be aware of these challenges
Yeah.
and provide adequate support for students who are struggling.
I agree. We can't just ignore this growing trend of students seeking outside help.
Right.
It's a signal that something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about providing more individualized support,
Yeah.
offering more workshops on study skills,
Right.
or simply creating a more supportive and inclusive learning environment.
I think it's about finding a balance
Okay.
between providing students with the resources they need to succeed
Mm-hmm.
while also fostering their independence and critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
It's not about doing the work for them,
Right.
but about empowering them to become confident and capable learners.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
From the challenges students face to the solutions being offered
Mm-hmm.
and the broader implications for education.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to the Free for eTool section for a moment. I'm particularly intrigued by the paraphrasing tool and the potential ethical considerations surrounding its use.
That's a great point. Paraphrasing is a valuable skill,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also one that can be easily misused.
Right.
The line between legitimate paraphrasing and plagiarism can be blurry,
Yeah.
and a tool that automatically rephrases text can create a temptation
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for students to simply plug in someone else's work and call it their own.
Exactly. And that raises some important questions.
Yeah.
How do we teach students to use these tools responsibly?
Right.
How do we ensure that they understand the principles of academic integrity?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we assess their understanding and skills
Yeah.
if technology is doing some of the heavy lifting?
Those are all questions that educators and institutions are grappling with right now.
Mm-hmm.
As technology continues to evolve,
Yeah.
we need to adapt our teaching methods,
Right.
our assessment strategies,
Mm-hmm.
and our very definition of what it means to learn.
It's a challenging but exciting time to be involved in education.
Yeah, it is.
We're at a crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
And the decisions that we make now will have a profound impact on the future of learning.
I couldn't agree more. It's a time for innovation, collaboration, and critical reflection
Yeah.
as we strive to create a learning environment that embraces both the possibilities and the challenges of the digital age.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the solutions, the ethics, the evolving role of technology.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what's your biggest takeaway from this deep dive?
Mm.
What's sticking with you the most?
What strikes me the most is the complexity of the issue.
Okay.
You know, it's not a simple black and white situation.
Right.
There are legitimate reasons why students seek out these services.
Mm-hmm.
And there are potential benefits to using some of these tools responsibly,
Right.
but there are also serious ethical considerations and potential downsides to over-reliance on outside help.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nuanced conversation that requires careful consideration and thoughtful dialogue.
I agree. It's easy to get caught up in the debate about whether these services are right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is much more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the individual student, their context, their needs, and their goals.
Absolutely.
And it's about empowering them to make informed decisions that align with their values and their aspirations.
I completely agree.
And it's about recognizing that the landscape of education is changing rapidly.
Mm.
We need to be adaptable,
Yeah.
open to new possibilities,
Great.
and willing to have difficult conversations about the role of technology, the nature of learning, and the ethical implications of the choices that we make.
I couldn't agree more.
You know, as we're talking about this, I keep thinking back to the website's tagline.
Mm.
Assignment help rated 4.8 out of 5 based on 5,087 reviews.
Yeah.
They really seem to be banking on social proof, don't they?
Absolutely. It's a classic marketing strategy that plays on our tendency to trust the experiences of others, especially in the online world where it's harder to gauge credibility.
Right.
Reviews and ratings can be so incredibly influential.
It's like they're saying, look how many people have used our service and loved it.
Mm-mm.
You can trust us too.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
creates that sense of safety in numbers.
Right.
If thousands of other students have had positive experiences with this service, it must be legitimate, right?
You're right. But it also makes me wonder about the authenticity of those reviews.
Yeah.
How can we be sure they're all genuine?
That's a really valid concern.
Yeah.
In the digital age, it's easier than ever to manipulate reviews and ratings. Some companies even pay for fake reviews to boost their reputation.
Wow. So how can students be more discerning then when they're looking at online reviews?
Well, it's important to look for red flags, like overly generic praise or a sudden influx of positive reviews all at once.
I see.
Also pay attention to the overall tone and language of the reviews.
Okay.
Do they sound like they were written by real students? Or do they seem overly promotional?
That's good advice. I think it's also important to remember that reviews are just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
You shouldn't base your decision solely on what other people say.
No.
You need to do your own research. Consider your individual needs and make a choice that feels right for you.
I completely agree. It's about being an informed consumer and not just blindly following the crowd.
Speaking of being informed, I noticed that the website uses very specific language throughout.
Okay.
It seems carefully crafted to appeal to students' anxieties and desires.
You're absolutely right. They use phrases like PhD expert writers, A+ grades at affordable prices, get English assignment help in just a few steps, all designed to create a sense of ease, convenience, and guaranteed success.
And they play up the fear of failure.
Yeah.
They talk about the challenges of non-native speakers, the pressure of deadlines, the risk of getting a bad grade.
Right.
It's almost like they're saying, don't risk it, let us handle it for you.
It's a common marketing tactic to highlight a problem and then offer a solution by emphasizing the potential pitfalls of academic writing.
Yeah.
They make their services seem even more appealing.
It's almost like they're tapping into that feeling of, I'm in over my head, I need help, that so many students experience at some point.
Exactly. They're preying on those feelings of insecurity and offering a quick fix, a way to escape the stress and anxiety of academic life.
But isn't there a risk that this kind of messaging could create a culture of dependency?
Oh, yeah.
What happens when students get so used to outsourcing their work that they never develop the skills they need to succeed on their own?
That's a valid concern, and it's something we need to be mindful of as educators and as a society. We need to encourage students to embrace the challenges of learning and to develop the resilience and problem-solving skills they'll need to thrive in the real world.
I agree. It's about finding a balance between providing support and fostering independence. We want students to feel empowered to tackle their academic work with confidence, not to feel like they need to rely on outside help for everything.
Exactly. It's about teaching them to fish, not just giving them the fish.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of English assignment help, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
Okay.
What do we want them to walk away with?
I think the most important message is that while these services exist, and they can be tempting, it's crucial to use them thoughtfully and ethically.
What do you mean by ethically?
It's about understanding the difference between legitimate assistance and academic dishonesty.
Okay.
For example, getting help with brainstorming or editing is different from having someone else write your entire essay for you.
That makes sense. It's about using these services as tools to enhance your learning.
Exactly.
Not as shortcuts to avoid it.
Right. And it's about being honest with yourself about your motivations. Why are you seeking out this help? Is it to improve your understanding of the material? Or is it simply to get a better grade without putting in the effort?
Those are important questions for students to ask themselves, and I think it's also important for them to consider the long-term implications of using these services.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well, if you're constantly relying on outside help to complete your assignments, are you really developing the skills and knowledge you need to succeed in your chosen field?
Yeah.
Are you setting yourself up for success in the long run?
Right.
Or are you creating a crutch that you'll eventually have to wean yourself off of?
Those are excellent points. It's about thinking beyond the immediate gratification of getting a good grade and considering the broader impact on your education and your future career.
I think that's a great place to leave it. This deep dive has been a fascinating exploration of the complex and evolving world of English assignment help.
It really has.
We've uncovered a lot of interesting insights, and I hope our listeners have found it both informative and thought-provoking.
I agree. It's a topic that deserves further discussion and reflection as we navigate the ever-changing landscape of education.
So as we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
In a world where information and assistance are readily available at our fingertips, it's more important than ever to cultivate a sense of intellectual curiosity and a love of learning for its own sake.
Beautifully said. The pursuit of knowledge should be a lifelong journey, driven by a genuine desire to understand the world around us and our place within it. It's really interesting, when you think about it, how the internet has changed the way we learn.
Oh, totally.
I mean, think about it. Even 20 years ago, if you were struggling with an English assignment, your options were pretty limited.
Yeah, you could go to the library.
Right.
Ask a teacher for help. Maybe hire a tutor if you could afford it.
Exactly. But now with the internet, you have access to a vast network of resources and support literally at your fingertips.
It's amazing and overwhelming all at the same time.
It is. It's like this double-edged sword.
Right.
On the one hand, it's incredible that students have so many options available to them.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it can be difficult to know where to turn and to discern which resources are trustworthy and reliable.
Exactly. And I think that's where this deep dive comes in.
Okay.
We're trying to shed some light on this complex landscape of English assignment help.
Right.
And to provide students with the information they need to make informed decisions.
I think it's so important for students to be critical consumers of information.
Yeah.
Especially in the online world.
Right.
It's easy to get swept up in the marketing hype and the promises of quick fixes. But it's crucial to step back and ask yourself some tough questions.
Like what?
Like, what are my goals for using this service?
Okay.
What are the potential risks and benefits? And am I comfortable with the ethical implications of my choices?
Those are really important things to consider. And I think it's also important for students to remember that learning is a process. It's not about instant gratification. It's about developing skills and knowledge over time.
Absolutely.
It's about embracing the challenges and the setbacks and using them as opportunities for growth.
I love that perspective.
Yeah, it's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And that's something that I think gets lost sometimes in our culture of instant everything.
Right.
We want everything fast and easy.
Yeah.
But true learning takes time and effort.
And it's worth it.
It is. It's so worth it.
You know, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of hope.
Oh, that's great.
Despite all the challenges and the ethical dilemmas surrounding English assignment help, I still believe in the power of education.
I do too.
I believe in the transformative potential of learning.
Absolutely.
And I believe that with the right guidance and support, all students can achieve their full potential.
That's a beautiful sentiment, and I think it's a perfect note to end on.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring the amazing world of English.
And